Today on the Commanders Report, I have 6 position battles during the offseason program for the Washington Commanders during OTAs and mandatory minicamp, of course, that you need to be keeping your eye on here because there's definitely some interesting dynamics at play right now with some younger players, some older players on this Commanders roster right now, and I cannot wait to see how this roster and this depth chart really shapes out as we approach the 2024 NFL season. Make sure you check out our official 2024 schedule reaction video currently on the channel. I'm going to put the link to that in the comments and description of today's show for my reaction to all 17 games on the Commanders schedule this season. And make sure you click that subscribe button for daily and free Washington Commanders videos right here on YouTube. So let's start with the quarterback battle here. And listen, man, you can make an argument that this isn't really a battle. Jayden Daniels is probably going to be the starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders in Week 1. But the big question heading into this offseason program is how quickly does Daniels take that mantle from Marcus Mariota? The team has not officially said that Daniels is the number 1 quarterback heading into the year. And who are we kidding, guys? Jayden Daniels is probably going to win this competition here. Will he do it by the end of OTAs? Will he do it by the start of training camp? It's going to be interesting to see how fast Jayden Daniels gets this done. Will it take a couple of preseason games? Will it take till the very end of the preseason for them to really make an official announcement on this? Who knows, but it's definitely going to be interesting to watch here because I do think Jayden Daniels is the better option between the 2 quarterbacks for this football team heading into Week 1. Then another battle that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on here is the battle for number 2 cornerback, because we know one of the starters is going to be Emmanuel Forbes, who the team took in the first round last year, and obviously it's a different regime here in Washington. They didn't take Emmanuel, but obviously with them not really getting a big-name free agent or trade or draft pick even on the outside cornerback position, that tells me that they really have a lot of belief in Emmanuel Forbes, and they believe he can be a potential number 1 cornerback option as soon as this year for their football team. And the battle is going to be between Michael Davis and Benjamin St-Juste for that other outside starting cornerback spot. Now, it's going to be interesting to see who wins this, but I think because you bring in Michael Davis in free agency, that's probably who's going to win this second spot. Now, that doesn't mean BSJ won't rotate in. It doesn't mean that at some point during the season, Davis might fall down the depth chart and Benjamin might move up. They might try different things. They might try both of them in there to see who sticks as the long-term starter. But I think heading into Week 1, Michael Davis is going to get this spot on the final Commanders roster. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Who's going to win this battle for number 2 cornerback on the Washington Commanders? Type MD for Michael Davis or type BSJ for Benjamin St-Juste. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we get to free safety here, and after the Commanders took Mike Sainristil out of Michigan in the second round, he's a slot corner, okay? He's going to play slot, and he's going to start right away. So Quan Martin, somebody that was a safety / kind of slot cornerback hybrid coming into the league. Commanders took him in the second round last year, and I think right now this regime sees him more as a true free safety. But you still have a pretty darn good free safety on the roster right now in Darrick Forrest. Now, we've discussed Darrick is probably on his way out within the next year or so because he is a free agent heading into the 2025 offseason. Maybe the Commanders don't want to spend big money on a free safety, especially when you got a guy like Quan Martin who's still on his rookie contract and could still be a pretty darn good free safety in his own right. So I do think Darrick's going to get the initial kind of boost here. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt. It's his job to lose. But if Quan Martin really starts to impress at free safety for this football team, watch out for him to maybe take Darrick Forrest's spot at some point during the 2024 season. But if not, I think Quan Martin will probably be more of a true dime backer for the Washington Commanders for this season. Now, another battle that, there's a lot of people that could win it. And this really accentuates my frustration with this offseason for the Washington Commanders. This is my biggest gripe. They haven't addressed edge rusher the way that I wanted them to. When they traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young at the trade deadline last year, we were promised that they were going to get good replacements, and they kind of just did not. Dorrance Armstrong is their number one edge rusher. He's going to be a true every down starter. I'm not sure if he's a really good number one option, but he's going to be one of your starting options. So the big question is, between these four gentlemen on the screen right now, Clelin Ferrell, Dante Fowler Jr., KJ Henry, and F.A. Obata, who is going to be the other every down starter for the edge rusher position for this defense? And I think the winner is, it's going to be a combination of people. There's going to be a good rotation of guys that get in, get out. They're going to try to keep guys fresh, all these different things. But I think the person that gets the most work consistently, especially on early downs as a run defender, is going to be Clelin Ferrell. He's a bigger body. The one thing that he actually does pretty darn well is he's a pretty darn good run blocker, all right? So that's something where if on early downs you want to stop the run, all these different things, Clelin Ferrell can certainly do that for you on the edge. But I do expect Dante Fowler Jr., KJ Henry, and even Obata to get some pretty decent amount of reps heading into this season as well. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you are a Commanders Report Real one, you've already clicked that subscribe button. You like our videos because you know that liking the video is the best way and the easiest way, if I'm being honest with you guys, to help out the channel. So if you appreciate the daily and free content we provide for you guys here on the channel every single day, help us out and make this video the best it can possibly be by clicking that thumbs up icon right now. Another interesting battle heading into this offseason program is who are going to be the two starting offensive tackles, right? You have Cornelius Lucas, who filled in last year for Charles Leno when he was dealing with some injuries, and Lucas actually played pretty darn well in his stead. I'm not convinced that he can be a full-time starter in the league, especially in the NFC East with so many great edge rushers in this division, especially rushing from that side of the line. Then Andrew Wiley, who you picked up in free agency last year. Pro Football Focus grade is pretty good for him, but overall, when you watch the film, man, I think it's pretty bad. He allowed a lot of very quick pressures, allowed 9 sacks and over 40 pressures last year. So even though, he's still making quite a bit of money and you might want to play somebody in your starting lineup because he's just making so much, I do think Brandon Coleman has a chance to usurp either one of these guys at either tackle spot. Now, Adam Peters, the GM, and Dan Quinn, the head coach, have said that they see Brandon Coleman as a future left tackle for this football team, but they're also working him out at right tackle in the early days of OTAs and rookie minicamp. So that tells me that they want him to try out both spots, and they're going to play the two best tackles on their football team, period, heading into the year to help protect their rookie quarterback in Jayden Daniels. I think the winner's week one, just because I'm not a huge believer in Brandon Coleman at this point, at least not to play week one. I think Coleman has some really intriguing tools, and I think eventually he could be a franchise left tackle if he develops, but I'm just not sure if that's going to be week one. I think Cornelius Lucas will probably be the starting left tackle for this team week one, and then you got Andrew Wiley as the starting right tackle heading into the first week of the season as well. And then sticking on the offensive line here, who's going to be the starting left guard for the Washington Commanders? So this is another question, another year where this is a question mark heading into the year. Now, they did sign Nick Allegretti pretty early on in free agency, so I do think he has the advantage over Michael Dieter to win this job. But listen, man, Allegretti has not been a bona fide starter in the National Football League ever. I mean, last year he had to fill in for the Kansas City Chiefs, and to his credit, he played pretty darn good, and he ended up winning a championship with the Chiefs last year. But Michael Dieter also played pretty darn well, as a backup option that was coming in and play center and guard and multiple different positions. And I can't say it would completely shock me if Dieter, having a really good offseason program, usurped Allegretti on the depth chart heading into the year. Now, I'm not going to project that right now. I do think Allegretti is going to be the starting left guard. I mean, obviously they gave him the money. They gave him the free agency contract early on. I do think he's probably going to be the favorite to win the job heading out, but don't count out Michael Dieter to win the job at some point during the season, especially if Allegretti disappoints. Now, that'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got more great Commanders content coming your way for free all throughout the 2024 offseason.